Hey, how you doing? This is RJ. Today I'm going to talk about what Comicsgate is and what Comicsgate isn't. Now, this isn't something I usually touch on directly, but I'm going to do it because of all the hullabaloo that's going on right now with people talking about others abandoning Comicsgate and leaders of Comicsgate and all that's going on. And hopefully you can get to the end of this video and tell me whether you think I have any valid points here, because I really think that's one of the central points of Comicsgate, that we need feedback from customers. Because essentially what Comicsgate is, I would say, is a customer movement. It has started as a customer movement and has always been a customer movement. It is a movement that is made up of customers for customers. Now, you can have people that are customers that are also creators. You can have people like Ethan Van Sciver and John Malin who are already creators. Or you can have people who are customers who have become creators, like Richard Meyer. Or you can have people who are customers who want to be creators, like Doug Ernst, like, I suppose, Micah Curtis. But it doesn't matter. The movement is about customers. It is made up of customers, and it is for customers. All that being a comic producer does for those customers is it makes their voices a little louder. That's all it does. It doesn't make them leaders. It doesn't matter what kind of podcast or what kind of YouTube channel they have. They're not leaders, because they're just a customer like you and me. All that making comics does for them is make their voice louder. Now, if they were all to disappear, if we lost Richard Meyer and all the rest, our voice as Comicsgate would not be as loud, but it would still be the same, because it's a customer movement for customers. So really, although I appreciate the fact that they enhance our voice and make it louder, if they all left, I don't care. I'm still going to put Comicsgate on everything, because it's a customer movement. And it's for customers. So they can all take a flying leap as far as I'm concerned. I really don't care. I'm a customer. And the whole point of why we want to do this as customers, what do we want out of this as customers? Well, we want a better product. And that's what it's about. We are demanding a better product. And I want to say and use that word exactly in the way that it's meant to be used. We demand a better product, because although our comic books are art, they are also part of the economy. All right? So economy is built on supply and demand. Really simply, it's supply and demand. This is what we demand. So the people who produce comics need to supply it. And that's pretty much what this movement is about. It's about supply and demand, because that's how economies work. I mean, our demand, any human demand, and you can apply this model to anything, whether it be news media, whether it be governments, right? We need things as human beings, and we know what we need, and we demand that that need be fulfilled in some way. And if we involve other people that we want to buy from, then they need to meet that demand. They need to supply that demand. And I would say, certainly, with my study of history, that leisure is one of the things that people need. It's straight up one of the things people need, you know? And we have chosen comic books to be our leisure, our escapism. And so, since that's our need, we demand that our needs be fulfilled with the product that we are purchasing to fulfill that need. And so, again, supply and demand. But this is not how it is working with the companies that are supplying us with comic books. Because for one reason or another, they have chosen to allow supply and demand to fall by the wayside, and to say to their companies, okay, this is how we make the most money, by having politics control what we do as a company. And I would say, quite specifically, political correctness in this case, supply what we are going to do as a company. And so the bigger company, which is Disney, enforces this on Marvel. Marvel enforces it on its editors enforce it on its creators enforce it upon us. And so That's not supply and demand. That's them telling us what we want. Quite specifically, I mean, I have quotes from Sana Amanat where she goes on about, well, you know what? This is not what the customers want. They may think they want it, but that's really not what they want. And that's a quote from her. And she works at Marvel. So, it's them telling us, supposedly, what we want. And Comicsgate, our voices are here to say, no, this is not what we want. We will tell you what we want. You will not tell us what we want. And that's one of the other reasons why I don't think there should be leaders in Comicsgate. There may be stronger voices, but no leaders. Because they're not telling us what we want either. This is a customer movement. We tell you what we want. You're creators. As a creator, again, we tell you what we want. You don't tell us what we want. Quite simply. And I would say this is good for any kind of dynamic. It doesn't matter. Right now, they have leftist politics controlling their companies and telling us what we want. If it was right-hand politics, if it was right-side politics, it would be the same thing. If you're not meeting our needs, our demands, then get the hell out of there. It's supply and demand. That's what it needs to be. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. Supply and demand. Not political ideology. I don't care if it's left or right. We have a need. We have a demand. To fulfill that need, you supply, if you are someone who we are giving money to, you supply for what we demand. That's what needs to happen. And so that's why we are trying to leverage our buying power with things like Move the Needle and say, this is what we want. I would say that hashtag is the entire reason for that hashtag is to say, this is what we want. And to show the people that, yes, this is what we want. No, you don't tell us what we want. This is what we want. On the other side of that, we do reviews, we do critiques. And everybody listens to reviews and critiques because here's a simple fact. The person who is in publishing, who is supposed to control all of this and make sure that supply and demand is met, is the editor. And editors cannot edit when they are being politically correct. A politically correct editor is an oxymoron, if you ask me. Those two things are mutually exclusive. You cannot have both of those things at the same time. There is no such thing as a politically correct editor. Why? Because your editor, before they do all of the spelling and grammar mistakes, they're supposed to edit for content. And when you edit for content, what you do is you say, this is what people out there want. This is what readers want. I know this. I look for patterns. I find out what people want. And I apply that to the work that is submitted to me. And I tell the creator, no, take this out. No, change this. No, move this. You cannot implant your message in anything. Get it out. This is what the customer wants. That is what editors are supposed to do. But the editors at the comic companies right now, and it's not just the big two, they don't care about that because they've been told they have to be politically correct. And so, again, what is directing them is politics, is a political movement, is not supply and demand. And therefore, they are not editors anymore. And so, that's why we do reviews. Partly, I would say, so that nobody wastes their money on garbage. But mostly because, yeah, we have to become the new editors. We have to show these people, you're producing garbage. This is not what we want. Again, all comes down to supply and demand. Pretty simply, we need to show these people that as comic readers, this is what we want from our leisure. You do not get to tell us what we want. That is the exact opposite of how any economic system works. And so, that is what I think Comicsgate is. That is why I think Comicsgate is here. That is why I think Comicsgate is a customer movement and doesn't need leaders. That is why I think that if all the leaders were to abandon us, we would still be Comicsgate. That's why I think that If Comicsgate were to change its name to something else, it would still be the exact same thing at its core. A customer movement built around supply and demand, and us demanding what they need to supply us because we are paying for it. Anyways, I want to talk a little more about editing and about good stories, and I couldn't get there until I explained my concept of what Comicsgate is and why I want to talk about good stories and focus my channel a little bit more and make it more upon sort of that editing idea. And so that's why I wanted to do this. Clear the air just a little bit as well too. Hopefully you did get to the end. And if you think that I have any merit in my argument, hit like. Hit the shield in the lower right hand corner of your screen to subscribe. And certainly leave me a message. Give me feedback. Tell me whether or not you think this is what Comicsgate is. Tell me whether or not you think this is what we should be about. Alright. I'll see you later. Bye.